know where to go. देखो सुनो मत बोलो. Wherever, whenever, whatever you are, be 100% करे ना अटक. किसी को आओ मत कहो, किसी को जाओ मत कहो. ना कुछ पाना ना कुछ खोना. Who asked you live at zero complaint level? मौज में रहो, be happy.
Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Patanjali Yoga Darshan, the Sutra, Yoga Sutras, they are normally understood that Patanjali is the originator of yoga, because Yoga Sutras are already there, because they are presented by Patanjali, therefore it is called as Patanjali Yoga Sutra. But in fact, even before the arrival of Patanjali Maharshi, yoga was already there. See? So Patanjali is not the originator of the yoga. Then who is the originator of the yoga? He is referred as Hiranyagarbha or Kapil Muni. This Kapil Muni comes in Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, wherein he addresses his mother Devahuti. So he is the one who has given these Sankhya and the Yoga. See? Therefore, then what did Patanjali do? He has put them in a very few words, therefore Sutra. Like Bhagavan Vedavyasa, he did not write Vedas. That knowledge was already there. He simply classified them in 4 different categories: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharvaveda. In the same manner, this yoga knowledge was already there. It was presented and given to us by Patanjali in the sutra form. Therefore, Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Now, what is the meaning of the sutra? Sutra is referred as something which is presented in minimum words. See? Not long pages after pages, very minimum words. And the word must be properly understood. And for that you have to work on it. In this manner, the sutras are minimum words and maximum contents. When these two things come together like this, like we take Narad Bhakti Sutra. You take Patanjali's, not Vedavyasa's Brahma Sutra. Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. See? Atha Bhaktim Vyakhyasamaha. Here also, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. So, the first sutra begins with Atha. Atha has got many meanings. One of the meaning is that when Brahmaji was born on the lotus, coming out of the umbalikas of Narayana, he did not know anything. See? Because he was born. Wherever there is a beginning and end, we are in a finite world. Where there is no beginning, there cannot be an end. So Brahmaji was born and he did not know. So he started looking here and there. In the front he saw nothing. Then he wanted to see the left side, nothing. So one head was born. He saw to the right side, nothing. Second head was born. He looked at the back side, nothing. Again, fourth head was born. And then he didn't know. What is this? Who am I? So he heard the 1625. What is 1625? So he started, what is 1625? Then these two are the Varna, alphabets of Sanskrit, Ta and Pa, Tapa. So do the tapasya. And when he got he did the tapasya. Now what is tapasya? Austerities. He was extrovert looking out for something. What is there? What is there? Stop that. Do tapasya. So he went inside the lotus and through the stalk he went to the origin, to the source. And there he discovered the truth. So after tapasya, yesterday also we have seen in the evening class, tapo bhikshina papanam, shantanam. See? So tapas is our ability to withdraw from the extrovertedness and go within. See? After that tapasya was done, then the first word which came out of his mouth was Atha Om. Therefore, these two words, Atha and Om, they are considered as the most auspicious one. Most auspicious. And therefore, whenever we begin anything in our life, we begin in an auspicious mode, and that is remembering the God. So, Atha is this. So, with the Mangalya, with the auspiciousness, this sutra begins, Atha. Now, the second meaning of the Atha is, Atha means thereafter. After what? Like in Yoga Sutra, not Yoga Sutra, in Brahma Sutra, it comes, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now, for whom is this Brahma Jignasa? Who is qualified for contemplation on Brahman? So, there are Atha. Atha means he who has studied the scriptures, he who has led the life of austerities, Atha. Thereafter you can study the Brahma Sutras. Many people, they ask us, Swamiji, why don't you talk on Brahma Sutra? So my answers are simple and straightforward. I don't know. Over. To study Brahma Sutra, are we qualified? That we don't think. So unless you have studied the Upanishads, unless you have gone through austerities, strictness with your lifestyle, then you are qualified for study of the Brahma Sutras. Here also, Atha means what? When you have lived your life and now you have come to a point, I have been extrovert, full of problems. How long I am going to continue with this? Is it we are born because of somebody else's mistake? Is it we are growing because it is not under our control? We have to grow in age. Whether you want or you don't want, you will become old. You cannot reverse the process. And then one day you have to die. You cannot do anything. You have to die. Is this life? or there is something more than this. In this manner, when one has started doing tapasya, so the tapasya is when you start an inquiry. See. So, atha, to such a student, these Yoga Sutras are meant. See? Atha. So, Om, atha. Now, what is that? Yoga Anushasanam. So, there are two words. So, atha, therefore, when we are withdrawn through tapasya, we have become qualified, adhikari. Without adhikar, when we do something, it never yields results. Like it is said, who is adhikari, who is qualified to study Vedanta? So, sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikarinam ayam tattvabodha vidiyate. This is meant for those who are qualified with four qualities. Sadhan chatushtaya sampanna, which are those viveka, vairagya, shama, dama, uparati, shraddha, titiksha, samadhana, and mumukshutvam chaiti. So he who has got these fourfold qualifications, he alone is qualified to sit in the Vedanta class. See? Because it is free, we go and sit there. That doesn't mean we will be benefited. We have to have this qualification. And therefore you will see, for the Vedanta class, you can never get crowds. It is not everybody's bite. There is no tabla peti, there is no harmonium, there is no drums, there is no shouting, nothing. There is no prasad. Most of the people go to for Bhagavad Katha because after that there is lunch or dinner. Here you are not even asked, will you like to have a cup of tea? No. Finish, get out. See? Therefore, atha is, are we qualified adhikari or not? And therefore, this atha is used in the beginning of the word atha. Now, atha, thereafter, yoganuशासनम. See? So, there are two words, yoga and anushasana. When we study the sutras, we have to clearly and exhaustively understand the import of every single word. See? Without that, our understanding will be incomplete. So, atha yoga anushasanam. Now, what is the meaning of anushasanam? Yoga is the authority. Anushasanam is the practice of that authority. And it is veditavyam. This must be known. See? Do we know who was the 7th President of America? No, we don't know. Does it make any difference? It makes no difference. If you don't know, don't know. What was the number of the glasses of Mahatma Gandhi? Come on here, I don't know. Does it make any difference? But it makes a difference. Who you are. That makes a difference. Therefore, atha yoganushasanam, yoga anushasanam. Therefore, one has to know through the authority of the scriptures what is our essential nation. Anushasana. Shasanam is authority who can rule over us. See? So who can rule over us? The scriptures. We cannot decide what is right and what is wrong for us. The scriptures decide. See? We cannot decide the traffic laws. Traffic rules are decided by the government. No, but in our America, we drive on the right side. Why drive here on the left side? We like to drive on the right side. Go to America. Get out of here. Here the rules are given. You have to drive on the left side. No argument. Exactly the same way. What is said in our scriptures is the ultimate authority. And then, with the support of that authority, we have to anushasanam, we have to discipline our life. See? And for that purpose, we are told in our scriptures that the varnashrama vyavastha, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, what are their duties towards the society, towards the parents, towards themselves, towards the next generation. It is decided by the scriptures. So, also the ashrama, whether you are a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha or sannyasi, according to that, whatever are your duties, they must be fulfilled because it is shastra anushasanam. See? Therefore, we cannot make decisions. I will like to do like this thing. No, you are not qualified, you should not do it. Most important. There is one text in Mahabharata, and the text is Sanat Sujatiya. And in that Sanat Sujatiya, the initial story goes like this. Dhritarashtra is the student and Vidurji is his subordinate. So Dhritarashtra says, you know so many things. Is there something which I do not know? Can you tell me that? He said, yes, there is one thing. What is that? There is no death. What? There is no death? There is no death. How it is possible? We are seeing people dying everywhere. You say there is no death. Can you tell me? He said, no, I am not qualified to teach. Vidurji says, I am qualified to learn. I am not qualified to teach. See, what is the problem in our schools is this. Unqualified people are appointed for teaching, and as a result, they become the cheaters and not the teachers. Particularly so, you go to UP, Bihar, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Horrible. Because quota system. The one who doesn't know even the spelling of English is an English teacher. Therefore, for knowing the truth, everybody is qualified. See, we must know the truth. But for teaching, everybody is not qualified. Atha yoga anushasanam. Anushasanam, discipline. So, what is our position in life? And anushasanam, are we practicing it perfectly or not? Atha yoga anushasanam. Therefore, we have to practice this anushasanam, what is told. See, now what is the meaning of yoga? See, yuja samadhau, one of the meaning which is taken in this commentary of Vedavyas ji on Yoga Sutra, yuj samadhau, yuj yoge, yuj dhatu, from that this yoga word comes. Yoga means samadhi, yoga means joining, yoga means the means. Like by the means of the car, we came to the lecture hall. By means of the sleepers, we came up to the sleeper stand. Means are used after the purpose is over, they are dropped. See? Therefore, these are the three meanings of the dhatu yuja. Second is sanyoge, to bring it together. So individual self, Jiva, and the absolute one, Paramatma. Jiva Shiva Ekatva. Oneness between the individual and the absolute is the meaning of the yoga. And the third meaning is Yuja Samadhau. Yoga means the Samadhi. Now here we have to understand what the Samadhi is. The first path is Samadhi path. Now here, very deep thought, be very attentive. Our mind goes through 5 stages, or there are 5 modes of the mind. See? What we call technically bhumika. See? The first bhumika or the stage is kshipta. See? Kshipta means the mind is constantly running from one place to another place, one object to another object, one time to another time. Constantly running here and there. See? So normally most of us what we do, we only complain about the mind. We don't work on the mind. See? So this is the Kshipta Bhumika. And in that Kshipta Bhumika, if you do Samadhi, you will become more disturbed. Because you will be rooted in the Kshipta, in the disturbed mode. Such people are always agitated, they cannot tolerate anything. See? Kshipta. Then the second comes, the Kshipta is the active, Rajoguna. Then the second one is the Mood Bhumika. Mood is overpowered by Tamoguna. So even in the satsang, while sitting, Mood Bhumika. See? Once I don't know where I was. I don't know what happened to me that day. Normally, those who are listening satsang, they go to sleep. But in my talk that day, I was talking and I was going to sleep. See? So somebody asked me, Swamiji, you are all right? You are sleeping in the lecture? I said, is it only you should sleep? I can also sleep. See? Mood Bhumika, overpowered by Tamoguna. See? And such a person, overpowered by Tamoguna, if he is practicing Samadhi, he will imagine that he is in Samadhi, but actually he is in deep sleep. See? So, first Bhumika is Kshipta, agitated, Rajoguna effect. Second is Mood, other extreme. See? Vikshipta is obsessed. No Tamoguna, no Rajoguna, Sattva-guna. I will do this, will do this. Everything should be like this, not the other way around. You must have seen there are some people, everything they decide it should be only that way. They cannot accept anything else other than their own understanding. That is the Vikshipta. See, you must have seen, suppose in some houses we come across. One house, I will not tell you the place and name, but it is a Tamilian house. This much I can tell you, because I have been Tamil Nadu. The house should be taken care of by the lady. But that man, that leda, he is so obsessed. Everything should be done as per his instruction. So that lady finally got so frustrated. Swamiji, what should I do? I said, you are a fool. Why? Why don't you allow him to decide? You relax. What type of furniture we should buy? I don't understand. You don't know anything. I'll decide. He goes, decides. You relax. You sit in the furniture. Why worry? What kind of crockery should be in our house? I don't know what to. You don't understand. I'll go and get it. Get it. You relax. Vikshipta, obsessed. See? There are many people unnecessarily obsessed. These are the three bhumikas. When we are under these three bhumikas, Kshipta, Moodha and Vikshipta, we should not practice yoga. See? We become obsessed. We become dull-witted. There was I don't know whether it's very easy now. We were studying together and he was very much obsessed with the yoga. Do this asana, that asana, do pranayam, this thing, that thing. And instead of eating jalebi in the morning, he was eating the cloth. I said, I don't like it. And time passed. And after about 20 years, I again happened to meet him somewhere. He said, hey, how are you? I said, I am on the top of the world. He expected that I will ask him, but I didn't ask. Dekho suno mat bolo, why worry? He said, you are not asking how I am. I said, I can see you are miserable. Then he said, I don't know why. My lungs are non-functional, liver is not doing well, my back is giving a lot of pain, I get constant headache. Why this is happening? I have done so much of yoga in my life. I said, therefore it is happening. We are all born perfect, like a phone which comes out of the factory is perfect. But then free download. And that phone has got a capacity to handle a particular amount of data or the apps. But we don't understand that because it is free. Keep on downloading. A stage comes, the device hangs. I don't know what happened. You have destroyed the factory settings. In the same manner, every body is born to breathe n number of times. After those n number of times, breathing is over, the body falls dead. See? But then when we overdo, suppose I am supposed to live for 100 times breathing. This is the age of my body. But then I do the yoga. And what is that? I will be doing the Kriya, Basrika. Or I will be doing the Anulom Milom. Or the Kapal Bhati. Then number of times I breathe is over. Net result is all your factory settings are completely destroyed. Then there will be sugar and there will be heart problem and cholesterol and blah 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 blah. Don't overdo. See? Therefore, whenever this yoga is practiced under these three conditions, most of them suffer. Then the fourth condition is Ekagra Bhumika. Ekagra Bhumika means what? Now our mind is available to us whenever we want, for whatever purpose we want, for whatever length of time we want, our mind is fully available to us. That is the Ekagra Bhumika. Meaning, the impact of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is no more influencing our mind. If the Rajas is influencing, we are disturbed. If the Tamas is influencing, we are dull-witted. If the Sattva is influencing, we are obsessed. What I say, that alone is right. See, and when we come to the Ekagra Bhumika, now in this state, mind is undisturbed by the worldly objects. Kshipta gone. See, the mind is undisturbed by dullness. And the third, the mind is not obsessed with anything. Such a mind is free. And such a free mind alone is available to us. See? Like when I keep on traveling, this time in Hyderabad I left my laptop and remembered, I ran back and got it. See? So, when the mind is dull-witted, you don't know what you are doing, what you are not doing, left the things. Therefore, yoga should not be practiced under these three conditions. Then when we come to the Ekagra Bhumika, now Ekagra Bhumika will come under what condition? Be attentive. Ekagra Bhumika comes when we are not disturbed by the world around. Kshipta will stop. Then we have to work on it. And for that our Mahamantra, Dekho suno mat bolo. See, hear, no comments. We develop that habit about everything, every event, we have to comment. See? Then, what to do? Ask a question to yourself. What? Is it necessary to talk? I guarantee you, in 99% cases, you will get a reply from within. It is not necessary to talk. Kshipta, mind will be quieted. Mood mind will be awakened when we have recognized the value of alert mind. A student who has got these three qualities in his mind, he is qualified for the subsequent yogaha samadhau. What are the three qualities? Mind is quiet, alert, and vigilant. Because it is quiet, that doesn't mean dull-witted. No. Then it is alert. Alert means what? Aware of all the things around, but not getting influenced by anything around. Leading a life of alertness. Like a good driver, when he is driving the car, he is listening to music, he is talking to somebody on phone, and he is watching the traffic, and if he has to turn, he looks into this glass and that mirror here and there. Everything is going on. He is alert. See? He is alert, and then he is not agitated. Agitated person is constantly finding faults of others. See? Because he is not at peace, because the mind is disturbed for whatever reason. Therefore, quiet, alert, and vigilant. Vigilant means what? When we are interacting in the world, are we depositing likes and dislikes on our mind? Do we interact with the world in such a manner that we create likes and dislikes on our mind? Be aware. Therefore, our Mahamantra, किसी को आओ मत कहो, किसी को जाओ मत कहो. Don't create friends and enemies in this world. When these things are done, then we have come to the fourth stage, Ekagra Bhumika. Now the mind is available to us for whatever is to be done, is done. Ekagra Bhumika. In this Ekagra Bhumika, the world is perceived as it is, but nothing is disturbing. In Moodha, nothing is perceived, dull-witted. In Kshipta, for every little thing, the mind is running here and there. For Vikshipta, the mind is obsessed with something or the other. But in this Ekagra Bhumika, everything is perceived, everything is going on perfectly well, but the mind is no more an issue and the world is no more an issue. So, this is the fifth stage. The yoga should be practiced when we are in the fourth stage. That is the Ekagra Bhumika. Then only it will help us. And that is why it is said one should practice yoga, this technique which I mentioned in my classes, very simple technique. In our deep sleep, what is our position? We are Mr. Nobody. So before we become anybody, finish all your spiritual practice. Suppose you wake up and you become a mother, you become a wife, you become a husband, you become somebody, and then you do your practice, spiritual practice. So what will be spiritual practice for the mother? I have to prepare a tiffin for my son and meditation. And then discussion. What should I put on this? Yesterday I can put on some biscuits and all that. You will get realize of biscuits you stand in front of. Because you have become somebody. Don't become anybody. Basics. Because in the deep sleep you are nobody, therefore you have no issue of kshipta, mood and vikshipta. You are perfectly aware and undisturbed. Ekagra Bhumika. And that is why we should practice this yoga abhyas under this condition. Otherwise we will be making more damage to ourselves. This example is given by Bhagavan Krishna. Yatha deepo nivatastaha nengate sopama smrataha. Yogino yata chittasya. The yogi who is yata chitta, he whose mind is controlled. His example is given like the flame you can see there. Those flames are moving. Because somewhere the airs are coming and disturbing the flame. See? If the flame is protected from the gush of winds or air, the flame has got all the potentiality to flicker. But because there is no reason, there is no cause to flicker the flame, and therefore it is steady. The yogi is the one whose mind is not dull-witted. See a beautiful example. Let there be lot of winds, nothing happens to this dead electric bulb. Because there is no flame. But when there is a flame, it's like a mind. All possibility of getting disturbed, but because there is nothing like the winds to disturb the flame is steady. Exactly the same way. In the Ekagra Bhumika, the mind is steady like the flame and nothing disturbs because the seeker, the student has understood that first of all I have to get out of the kshipta, mood and vikshipta bhumikas. It is for this purpose Patanjali tells in the Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. In that the Yama sadhana is for this. What the Yama sadhana does? There it is said, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya and Satyam. These are the 5 principles by which we do not become a problem for the world and we do not accept the world as a problem. We have conquered these three bhumikas. See, friends. Therefore, simply telling, oh, you should be quiet, you should not be disturbed, it should have clarity, distinctness. So, these are the four bhumikas. So, Kshipta, Mudha, Vikshipta and Ekagra. Now, when we are doing this sadhana of Ekagra Bhumika, then what happens? See, then the mind is functional perfectly well, but the mind is not disturbed by the world. Relativity is the experience, duality is the experience, but relativity and duality as well as the dvandva, the dualism, have no impact on the seeker of truth. See how much alertness is expected. Without that, if you start imagining, I will do yoga, you do it. It will be only stretching your joints and relaxing. That is not yoga. Yoga is working on the mind, not on the body. We'll come to the next sutra whenever it comes. So the fifth bhumika is Niruddha bhumika. See? So in the Niruddha bhumika, what happens? In the Ekagra bhumika, when the yoga has samadhau, when the mind has attained samadhi, what happens? That objectivity is maintained, duality is maintained, but it is not influencing. That is called technically as the Sampradnyat Samadhi or Sampradnyat Yoga. I am trying to avoid as many times as possible these technical words, but they are essential to know. Sampradnyat Yoga, wherein the knower known, the experiencer experience, duality is maintained, but it is not influencing. Then after we have practiced this Sampradnyat Yoga, see, in the third sutra the teacher will say, Abhyasa Vairagya Abhyam Tan Nirodha. So Abhyasa, practice. And what will be the practice? Therefore be attentive. We have to practice Sampradnyat Yoga means lead your life normally, but be alert, don't get disturbed, don't react. Net result, mind is at peace with ourselves. A person whose mind is at peace with himself or herself, he is qualified for Asampradnyat Yoga or the Asampradnyat Samadhi. This is how it happens when we practice the yoga abhyas at the Niruddha sthiti, at the stage of Nirodha. See? Now, what is the Nirodha? Nirodha means what? The mind has come to a still, come to a halt. And therefore, there are no thoughts. Like you must have seen in winter days, not here, but in the cold areas. In winter days, the waters are very cold, and therefore you will not see the waves on the surface of the water. Once I went to Kedarnath many years before, and that was the first time the helicopter service has started. So we went by helicopter. So the distance was crossed in 9 minutes. So other group has to come. Only 4 persons or so per flight. So now what will I do there? I said, hey, let's go backside walking. We have stopped walking these last 14 kilometers. We can go there. We went about 5 kilometers behind the temple. And there is a place where from this Mandakini river begins. So huge, beautiful lake. And there was not even one single ripple on that. I said, see how steady the water is. Now, I'll show you something good. No, I will take one small twig or a dry leaf and put it in the water. You will see the ripples, and I'll explain you something. So I took a piece of dry leaf and put there. No ripples coming. Swamiji, what happened to ripples? I said, I don't know, ask the water. Why ripples are not coming? Then I said, okay, let me put my finger and do it. When I put my finger, it was a sheet of ice, transparent, because the water was completely cooled to such an extent. It was set in to get into the ice mode. Therefore, no movement, no waves. Exactly the same way, asamprajnat samadhi is when the mind is free from thought formation. Thought free mind is consciousness. Thoughts are to be clearly understood. Then we can control the chitta vritti nirodha. Without all these things clear in our mind, we will not be able to practice yoga abhyas. Only mechanically doing the things is only the physical exercise. See? Get up early morning, take the yoga mat and spread it and then do the yoga. Very good, nothing wrong in that. But that is not all. See? One has to go deeper in one's own being. Therefore, in this Niruddha Bhumika, everything is happening and yet nothing is disturbing. And therefore, this in Niruddha Bhumika, the mind is completely, absolutely at peace. See? Now, if we are practicing, in the commentary, Bhagavan Vedavyasa writes very beautifully, Tatra vikshipta chetasi vikshepaha upasarjina bhutaha samadhina yoga pakshe vartate. If somebody is trying to do the samadhi in the vikshipta chitta or the moodha chitta or the kshipta chitta, it is not samadhi, it is only a struggle, and therefore one should never get lost. The ekagra chitta bhumika. When we are in the ekagra chitta setu, when the mind has become single pointed, meaning it is available fully to us, then we will be able to practice samadhi, and that samadhi in the ekagra chitta is samprajnat samadhi. We will be leading our life naturally, but we will not get disturbed by anything in life. And then when we come to the last is the samprajnat samadhi or the yoga. So we practice this. We live in this world naturally, but we stop reacting to the world. Don't get involved, don't get excited. All these things what I told, Bhagavan Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Whatever you are doing it for me, committed to this. So the mind has become ekagra. Yadyat karma karomi tattad akhilam shambhotamanadhana. When everything is done for the Lord, mind is no more kshipta, mood and vikshipta. More than doing the puja and all that, more alertness comes when you do the yajna karma. Have the kunda made, and then the fire is invoked, And with every mantra you have to offer the fire, offer the offering in the fire, in a proper place. If you are doing the japa, Om Namah Shivaya, 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 two things. Mouth is chanting Om Namah Shivaya and your mind is running here and there. But in case of offering oblations to the fire, hey, don't do like that. Oh God, you will get burned. You have to remain alert. Alertness is the key of spiritual practice. Remain alert. Therefore, when we have done this practice of Sampradnyat Yoga or Sampradnyat Abhyasa, then what happens? The teacher says, Kshinoti Kleshan. We will be coming after one or two sutras. There are 5 kleshas. This is the beauty of our yoga, this sutra technique of telling. They introduce one word in every sutra, new word. That word is explained in the subsequent sutra. While explaining that, then one more new word is introduced. Then next sutra is born to explain that new word. And in this manner, a thought process, a link of thinking is developed. So, Kshinoti Kleshan. When the Sampradnyata Yoga is done, see, then what happens? Kleshas are weakened. Which are the kleshas? The question will come. It will come subsequently. I will tell you right now. There are Pancha Kleshas. Pancha Kleshas are Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha and Abhinivesha. 5 of them. See? Avidya, incomplete knowledge about oneself. Avidya. Then Asmita, the notion of I-ness. I told you, I am doing yoga, I am studying, I. So, Avidya and the children of this wrong notion are the remaining 4 of them. So, the first child is Asmita, I. Then, what is this I expression? Raga Dvesha, likes and dislikes. 4 of them. And 5th, Abhinivesha, getting identified with the body. Getting identified with anything. Abhinivesha is getting identified with. A gross example I will tell you. Once we were going by a taxi somewhere, and the local taxi fellow, he has been driving there always, and there is always a barrier on the road, like a 45 degree, and it is standing there. So only vehicles with a particular height can go below that. If the vehicle is taller than that, it can't go. They have to stop. So when we saw that our car was going through below that, we thought it's going to hit us. We ourselves there is no need. Because the car is already on your head. It will not trouble you. But this is called Abhinivesha, getting identified with anything. Observe this. See? Like if you go to Calcutta and after having gone there, go for a football match. This I am telling you after I have experienced this thing. And in that you will come across very funny thing. Suppose there is a penalty corner given and the player is keeping the ball there. Don't look at the player, look at the audience. And when the player is coming and giving a kick, everybody does like this as if they are going to kick. Abhinivesha, getting identified with anything in life. And this habit of identification goes so deep. See, if my child does something, that my is Abhinivesha. If somebody else's child does like that, these days children are not controlled. You become a philosopher. See, Abhinivesha. These are the 5 klesha. Klesha means sufferings. So, the mother of these kleshas is avidya or the ignorance or ajnanam, avidya. Then because of that, I consider myself to be somebody, asmita, I-ness. And what is the I-ness? I like this, I don't like this, likes and dislikes. See? Abhinivesha, and we get obsessed with something or the other to such an extent that we forget everything else. And all our questions are born out of this abhinivesh. One lady asked this question, Swamiji, when the world is created and how long is the world and where from the world begins, we don't understand. I said, okay, now you answer my question, don't argue. When did you wake up in the morning today? Oh, Swamiji, I said, you are arguing. Simply tell me. I woke up in the morning at 8 o'clock. The world is created at 8 o'clock. Now, where from the world begins? The world begins from your body identification. How long the world remains? Till you continue to be identified with the body. Where the world ends? When body identification dropped. Therefore, when a person is in coma, he never suffers. Those who are paying the bill, they suffer. And they come to us. Swamiji, please bless. Now what to bless? Come out of the coma or take switch off? See, friends, Swamiji, we could not see her suffering, and by your blessing, God has heard her prayers and she is relieved of the pains. I said, hey Maharaj, you can cheat yourself. Don't cheat me. Why? I said, a person who is in coma never suffers. Person who has to pay the bill through nose, he suffers. Because for a person in the coma, he is nobody. There is a life, but asmita, I-ness, is not born. And therefore, he or she doesn't suffer. These are the basics. And if this is clearly understood by us, then what will be our spiritual practice? See? Klesha, they are painful experiences. Klesha giving pain, dukkham. So if we want to get rid of these kleshas, we have to trace what is the cause, the root of these kleshas. Then we come to know that kleshas are born out of avidya or ignorance. Avidya or ajnanam or ignorance is what? It is not absence of knowledge. Knowledge can never be absent. See? Avidya, then incompleteness in knowledge. The simplest example I can tell you. I am body, this is not a problem. See? Only this body I am, the other body I am not. Samsara begins. See? Child is not a problem. This is my child, this is other child. Problem, samsara begins. See, friends, therefore, these pancha kleshas are born out of avidya. Avidya is incomplete understanding. Therefore, if we want to really work on the spiritual path, in Vedanta we start working on the avidya, ignorance. See? And ignorance can be removed only by right understanding. And effect of the ignorance is the wrong notions. I am happy, I am unhappy, I am successful, I am not successful, I am lucky, I am unlucky. These are all notions. Notions are rejected without creating new notions. This is what is called as the real spiritual practice, according to Vedanta. So here, according to yoga, when the sampradnyata samadhi is practiced, slowly, the karma bandhanani kshrayanti, then the bondage of the karma is also reduced. Why the bondage is reduced? Because to that extent our body identification is reduced. What are the bondage of the karma? First of all, our past karmas are slowly weakened. Our future karmas are not born because we are not reacting with the world. And in the present, the prarabdha karma, we will go through without retaliation or without getting miserable. Therefore, these three types of karma bandhana, the sanchita karma, the accumulated, the agami karma, the one which will come as a result of our activity in this life, and prarabdha karma, because of which this life has started. All these three types of karma bandhana is weakened when we practice the sampradnyata samadhi. See? And therefore, the chitta, the mind, should be free from the earlier three notions. The kshipta, mudha and vikshipta. I have repeated it dozen times. I am aware of it, so that we should not forget. Otherwise, it becomes casual. This is the foundation. If you want to have a big building, foundation will not be seen, but that will show that this building can stand so high on the foundation. So the foundation of yoga abhyasa is this. It is not body oriented. See? It is working on the mind is yoga. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. It is not yoga sitting quiet. No. Chitta vritti nirodha. Therefore, we have to rise above raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, and in this manner, slowly, the cause of the disturbance in the mind is reduced, and then we have to work on this. And for this, what should be done, what should not be done, we have seen. The next sutra, or whatever thought comes, we'll take in our tomorrow's class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.